All right. Does anybody have any spiritual thoughts?
Um,
I can't think of anything. It's been a
I
long
got
week.
I got another funny story. I don't know how applicable it is, but it's one I heard on my mission from it was from a bishop. He told a story about um there was this flock of, I think it was, what was it, turkeys, and then there was one turkey who had journeyed off for a while, and then when it came back to the flock, this turkey had learned how to fly, and all the other turkeys were envious of this one turkey and all wanted to learn how to fly as well. So he took them all out, created a runway and everything, and all these other turkeys came and brought their pencils and took notes, and they spent the whole day uh, learning how to fly, and it was hard, but by the end of the day, every single one of these turkeys was flying, and and then after the lesson was done, uh, the the chief turkey
Yeah.
was like, "Okay, well, now you guys know how to fly. Now everyone can go home." So everyone picked up their pencils and notebooks and walked home. So that is kind of funny in the sense that a lot of us learn some like really cool things that can apply, but the thing is we need to apply them. So I just think that's really important. What we're learning in these classes and stuff, always try finding ways to actually apply them in life. I don't know, not only enhance our own lives, but the lives of those around us. So yeah, just remember to fly. Don't just rely on what you learn, but apply what you learn. So share that in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you for that, Tyler. I'm actually going to go ahead and pitch in one more too. Let me see if I can pull mine up. I think this could be applicable, so we'll see if it is or not. So this is Mosiah chapter 2, verse 41.
Hey, Michael, can you hear Ben?
I can't.
I
I
can't hear
can't.
him
I
either.
see. Click the picture down, but yeah, I don't see him or hear him. Ben, you there? Oh, he just dropped out.
Uh-oh.
Let's see if he can get back in. There he is. You there, Ben?
Yeah, hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Yep.
Okay, not sure what happened there. So, anyway, were you guys able to hear me read the scripture?
No, I wasn't.
Nope.
Okay, let me just pull that back up real quick. So it's Mosiah chapter 2, verse 41. And moreover, I would desire that ye should consider on the blessed and happy state of those that keep the commandments of God. For behold, they are blessed in all things, both and if they hold out faith in heaven, and thereby that this scripture is applicable, because we'll discuss in a bit what direction we feel Yieldex should go in. However, I feel it's important that uh, Cosmin reflects on the example of those who are around him, as they all appear to be successful and they believe in his product. It's similar in our lives. Who are the people that we surround ourselves by? Um, we should look to their successes as we try to model them in our own lives. And so that's how I think this could be applicable in the case of Yieldex and the direction they try to go.
Awesome. I like that.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. First things first, it says we need to take a quick group vote. How many people think that Cosman should accept the offer from Turn? Nobody?
I think he should. Oh, no, I don't think he should. Sorry. I don't
You
think he
don't?
should.
Okay.
No.
I agree. I say no. Tyler, do you have an opinion?
I don't think you should either. I think if they, no, I don't think that they should at all.
Okay. So none of us do. Okay, so kind of interesting. We need to, nonetheless, we need to argue why we think that it's a consideration. Just to show that we've considered it. So I'm working on numbers real quick. I'll be done in just a second.
Well, kind of just my thoughts on it. I mean, tell me if I'm off, but I think Yieldex, I mean, down the road is going to be worth way more than $2 million. It's a successful company. People believe in it. I think it's moving in the right direction. So that was my vote for why I think don't take the deal to sell.
All right, well, the little bits I'll bring up real quick, if you guys can remember, something that was mentioned with the initial, oh, that did not work, dang it. With the initial contract made to the angel investors was that if he sold, then there were agreements as to the amount of money and stuff he had to give. And so I'm going to show that to you right now. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do a screen share. Hopefully this works okay for you guys. All right, can you see that okay?
Yep.
Okay, so if you guys recall, the initial agreement was that each angel, A, B, and C, they each contributed $100,000 each. Upon selling the company, they were told that they would receive double their investment. So in that case, they'd each receive $200,000. That would leave the $2 million that would be offered to Cosman would be only $1,400 or $1,400,000. But then you talk about the stock that would be offered. This is a big catch, in my opinion, was they would receive 25% of the cut. So that means of the 2 million, it would go 500,000 to each one, which would only leave him with 500,000. Which that's not as big of a investment as you would think for like security purposes moving forward as you would hope. So with that being said, like this is nothing compared to the potential of what Yieldex is to provide. I also feel that Shields does a fantastic job as well. That when he goes to prove like, hey, here's what the true valuation of the company is worth, and then he also gives a list of companies and how much they were sold for, and so forth. And so that's why I think it's why I agree selling to Turn is not the direction to go. So. Sound good?
Can you bring back up your spreadsheet?
Yeah. See it okay?
Yeah, no, I do. On page 2, when it's talking about the terms of the angel investors, I interpreted saying that it was only 25% in total to the angel investors, meaning it would be divided among those. The 25% is divided among those 3. So that would actually throw another $1 million into that pot, the way I understand it. Because the next line is we talked about each of the individual investors also had the option to increase initial investment up to 156. So they were grouping them together prior to that. Now, then once they get to that point, then they put the numbers to each one. So I think it's only 500,000 in stock to all 3, about 500 each.
All right, let me show.
What do you think on that, Tyler?
Wait, so you said, but isn't that kind of exactly what he's showing right here? That each of their cut is 500,000. Is that what you were saying?
No, what I'm saying it's 500,000 by 3.
Oh, really? So they're.
I mean, what do you? I mean, just look at page 2. And, I mean, maybe I'm misinterpreting it, but it just says angel investors will receive approximately 25% of the shares in the new company. It's talking to about a plural.
So you're saying that they're only going to be getting what 175 or something thousand?
Yeah.
Instead. Of,
yeah. That's the way I interpreted it, but I could be wrong. But even then, he still gets $2 million. He still gets about $2 million. When I did the numbers, he's still getting about $2 million after their stock has been given to them and he's bought their shares back out. He's still walking away with $2 million, but then that's all done. He's going to be paying taxes on that because he's got capital gains and everything else. He's going to end up walking away with like 1.2 million, and that cow doesn't milk anymore. So, in my view, it doesn't sound like in my view, I agree. It's his invention, it's his creation. He knows where things are going. He's already. I think he should write it out and stay with the business and keep moving forward to see what he can do.
Michael, what do
you think, Tyler?
I think both of them make sense. I don't know.
So, what did you think? You thought they should sell? You thought he should go ahead and stick it too, did you?
Yeah. But kind of how I broke it down too was kind of what I just didn't really understand. I did it the same way that Ben did, and I was saying that they were going to be divvying it up, the 500,000 amongst all of them, because I thought they were just doing it with the 2 million. But how you explained it, that makes sense too. But
no, I think either way, I don't think he should sell. I don't think he's making enough money on it. Whether it's your guys, what I came up with.
No. That's what I had too. I think they should keep the company because it's moving in the right direction, and down the road they're definitely going to be making a lot more than 2 million. So I think they should definitely stay.
I agree. I also think it's a positive sign when you haven't even finished the product and you're already being offered that much.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a product that everyone believes in. So
yeah,
moving in the right direction. Did he get disconnected again?
I don't know. It looks like his microphone's turned off. Let me jump over to the.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm here. I'm surrounded by family and everything right now, so I'm trying to find a quiet place. So.
Darn family.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. I think I got a little better light now too. So. All right. So, So Tyler, I don't want you to be confused. The only difference was the interpretation of the 25%. I think what Michael's stumbling on is actually maybe more accurate than I was, but agreed nonetheless. There's so much potential growth that he's cutting out. And so for that reason, whether I'm right or he's right, they both prove the fact that it's probably not the smartest financial decision.
Yeah.
So along those lines, it's just proving that turn's not the way to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Okay, so that being said, the next question is, let me find out where I was at. Okay, discuss as a group. How much does Shields deserve? Why does Washing want Doug to reject the turn? Okay.
What are you thinking?
I'm a little confused because I think this is like multiple questions in one. So I'm just going to read it and we might have to break it down. Discuss as a group. How much does Shields deserve? Why does Washing want Doug to reject the turn offer? Won't Washing get a pretty good return on his investment? Why hold out for more? How much does Washing give up if Doug gives Shield 50% of the equity? All right. So again, yeah, this is broken into two parts. First things first, to answer the question of why does he want him to turn down the turn deal? So if you think of the investor's prospect of they invested $1,000 or $100,000, they'd get $200,000 in return. They double their money. Yes, that is good. There's no denying the numbers behind that. However, I think just like everyone else involved with Yieldex in this team, they see the opportunity to truly be worth more. Agreed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I feel like that makes sense, just plain and simple, why they're going to turn that down. But I do believe Washing, and you guys can help me out if I'm wrong, I think Washing is behind hiring on Shields, and they agreed toward the end just to agree to the 50-50 equity split, right?
Yeah, that was Washing's advice to Doug that he should hire Shields at that percentage.
Right. And so that question doesn't make sense because there's like, why would he not do that? And I'm like, later, I think that becomes what they do pretty much reach to. It's not set in stone yet, but it looks like it's definitely going that way. My personal feelings toward it is I think it's I think it's completely fair after reading the case for multiple reasons. For one, you are partnering with someone who is knowledgeable of the industry. He's clearly aware of what this product has to solve, what solution this product provides to the problem. So you have someone who understands it. He agrees on the need for it. So, I mean, one, he believes in your product then. That's step one. Number two, he has all the business understanding and connections to help grow this company financially the direction it needs to go, which we also know from reading the case, that is not what Cosman wants to do. So I feel like he's really offering a lot of solutions to the problems Cosman doesn't want to face. And so I think with that being said, I think a 50-50 split is like almost more than fair to what Shields would offer the company.
Yeah, I think after reading the case, I also think he's taking a huge risk by joining Yieldex and leaving his firm that he was working for. I do think 50 still is pretty high, but for the expertise he's bringing, the only reason I say it is because I just think about relating back to like Shark Tank and stuff. Like 50% is control of the entire company, kind of thing.
Yeah,
but
I agree with you on that, Tyler. I originally, when I filled out the case study and stuff, I said, no, I think this is good. That's obviously the standard, and that's what they say is the standard in the industry. Go ahead and accept it. But after completing it, that's one of my rules, and I wasn't even thinking about it, is you never go 50-50 because somebody has to be in control, and if you're not careful, you can get ran out. I mean, that's what happened to Steve Jobs. That's what happened to Steve Jobs.
Exactly.
He lost control of the company. He just ran off. You know, you can entice the guy a little bit more, you know, give him something else to get him on board, but I wouldn't give him over 45%. You know, get him close to that 50, but you got to stay in control. It's your idea. You hold the patent, and you need to regain control. You need to hold control of that.
Yeah, even if you give him.
I'm going to propose this idea to you guys, though. Bear in mind, I don't think Cosman wants I don't think he wants control. I think he's happy to give over control. Hence why I think the proposal from Turn is somewhat appealing because then he's just done. He can walk away and be done. So I don't think he wants control. So that's where I think this is actually appealing to him because then it's like, you know what? I can step back a little bit more and just enjoy the part of the business. So I think that's appealing to him. In addition to that, if you look at the chart that Shields provided, mapping it out, which I found this interesting. Let me pull it up real quick. Actually, I have it copied, so I'll just show you this. Okay. So if you guys see this, this is the form that Shields provided. So here's the 50-50 split, but then he also has this right here, 1,600,000 shares. That's for employee option pool. This would make it so it's not a complete 50-50 split. And this is actually what was written up by Shields himself. So even he realizes it's not percent. Neither is it a full 50% for Cosman either, which means that the little bit of sway that the employee pool option would have, that would be enough to push one option or the other. So there's got to be some unity of the company to avoid losing control of the company. But like I said, I think this appeals to Cosman because he's not wanting the control, and he mentioned that from the get-go. He wasn't very confident about starting a business, and he's in favor of hiring on Tom to help. So that's where I think this later works out. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I think he wants someone to help. To like in essence take over and make the decisions and everything. But going back to Michael's point, the one that I was kind of getting at too is even if he gave 49% of it, just anything to like keep himself, from pulling a Steve Jobs, But that doesn't mean that Shields can't be the decision maker. That's why he's hiring him. He can even say you're in charge of making the decisions. I don't know. Those are just my thoughts.
Yeah, I still agree. I'm still with Tyler on this, but I mean, you do bring up a good point. As they keep going out and getting more, diluting the shares and things like that, they're going to get farther and farther away from him ever having a majority of the shares.
Sure.
I guess I would sum it up as a way of just keeping it in check. That you're just a little bit. I'm the one that brought this. I'm the one in charge. Just more mental.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
No, fair enough.
You do that, and then I don't. I forgot what my other point was, but yeah, I think it works to his advantage just to have just a little bit more pull. It's his company. And this is what I was going to say. You're bringing on him as a CEO. Doug is bringing him on as a CEO. This guy's going to be running the company. I know a lot of people that actually, that are majority owners of large corporations, but they don't control the day-to-day. They have the stock and all that. They go to the board meetings once a month. They fly in, but they don't actually manage the day-to-day unless something got really out of hand. Then they jump in and take control and fire the CEO, whatever else. So, I mean, I think he's solving that problem of getting out of not really wanting to run the company by getting that Tom in there as a CEO. I don't think he'll have to be running around looking at spreadsheets and things like that if that's not what he wants to do.
Right. No, and like you said, I really don't feel like there's a correct answer to this. I just different ideas. So I think all of us bring value opinions to it, which show both options. If he wants control or if he doesn't.
Yeah,
so that's
and
good.
It's just one of those things, kind of putting yourself in that position too. Like, what would you do in that situation? So that's kind of where I was thinking.
Okay.
Agreed.
All right. So this is an interesting question. Can Doug use the Turn offer to his advantage if he rejects it?
What's that again?
Can Doug use the offer from Turn to his advantage if he rejects it?
If who rejects it?
So I think because he received the offer, excuse me, because he received the offer from Turn, but he turns them down, can he turn around and say to like Shields and stuff? I don't know how, but I think that's a proposed idea. Can he use it to in his negotiating with Shields, like, hey, you know what? I'm thinking about going this way with maybe Turn, but I will turn down Turn if you agree to do 60-40. Can he maybe consider something like that? Personally, my feelings are no, because then that comes across as greedy, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
If he tries to play that pitch.
I agree. That's what I said too.
Okay.
It said that they were within a week of having the deal sealed, so I kind of felt, that'd be kind of a backtrack. But I don't know. I might use it to leverage a few percentage points off the 50-50, close enough to where you're splitting hairs on the 50-50, but still getting a little bit more of that equity stake.
Yeah. I think, have you guys ever sold anything on Craigslist before? You know how you you set something, maybe that's not a very good example. I was going to say how initially maybe you post really high, but your expectations are actually a little bit lower, but in this situation, it's kind of backwards from that. I think
you're onto something. You're okay, Tyler. I'm with you.
Yeah,
with you.
okay,
You're
so
onto it.
yeah,
There's a negotiation period.
yeah, exactly. So he probably already has a number in mind that he's okay with. Maybe it's 55%, and maybe he does come with that, saying I want 60%, and then maybe they negotiate to 55%. I personally, I don't think he should, but I mean that's what negotiating is.
Yeah, but kind of like you said, Michael, too. They have been negotiating. They've been doing the numbers game back and forth, and now here you are in the final days of coming together. So
I do think that in the final days, that's not cool. That I would say earlier on, that's acceptable, but not if you're like within the last week and you've already agreed on a number. So
yeah. Hey, well, I apologize because there's going to be factors to this now moving forward that I wasn't prepared for. So it says we have to read the B case as a group, and then vote should Tom hire Barr. So this is probably somebody new, yes or no, and then we have to explain why.
Okay.
All right.
So
let's read it.
All right. Oh, I have it pulled up. I'll put on screen share real quick.
Yeah, it's 3 pages we're supposed to read right now. Jeez. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll go ahead and read it real quick, real loud. It was December 2007, and Yieldex CEO Tom Shields was driving the company's Boulder, Colorado office to meet with his co-founder Doug Kosman. Since becoming the CEO of Yieldex in October of 2007, Shields commuted from the Bay Area to meet with Kosman and the engineering team on a weekly basis. Kosman almost sold Yieldex for $4 million in September of 2007, but rather an agonizing internal debate, he decided to forego the quick exit and hire Shields to help him pursue additional financing and grow the fledgling company. Shields and Kosman had been negotiating an equity split when an unexpected offer came in, and they were close to an agreement in which Shields hoped to receive 50% of the pre-Series A common shares. Shields had pressed Kosman to turn down an offer, but that came with a price to Shields. He ultimately agreed to take 40% of the common offer, but that came, common, while Kosman held to the remaining 60%. Cosman then sold 20% of his common back to the company to take out some cash. Both Shields and Cosman were diluted in the Series A round that closed several days after Shields joined the company. Sequel Venture Partners led the round with $2 million investment, and they joined by the first round capital $500,000 and angel investors that converted their seed notes into Series A shares and invested additional money. See Exhibit 1 for the final series capitalization table. The pre-money valuation of the Series A was $4.9 million. When Shields joined as CEO, Cosman became the company's what?
That was pre-value to Series A?
Pre-value Series A, 4.9, yes.
Okay.
When Shields joined as CEO, Cosman became the company's chief technology officer. Reporting to Shields, Cosman explained, I was not interested in leading a team of engineers on a day-to-day basis, but I wanted to be the technical leader of the company. Cosman had converted the 3 contractors to full-time employment and hired 2 more in the last few months, and both he and Shields thought they needed to be led by an experienced vice president of engineering. Shields met with several candidates for the VPE position during November, and he quickly realized that he and Cosman had different perspectives on the qualifications of the ideal candidate. Cosman preferred someone with deep technical expertise in internet advertising software who would immediately understand this technology related to systems already in use in the industry. In fact, he hoped to promote one of the Yieldex employees who had been working with Cosman on the Yieldex solution over the last year and had previously been a team lead. Shields, however, preferred deep management experience of software development projects in small companies. He was comfortable hiring someone who had not worked in internet advertising as long as the individual had a track record of managing high productivity startup teams and active aggressive development milestones. Shields knew that the issue would come to head this week. He had recently met a Boulder-based candidate, John Barr, who came highly recommended from sequel partner Tom Washing. Barr had a strong track record with multiple successful startups. He had been the CTO of his last 2 companies, but he was willing to join Yieldex as the VPE, also reporting to Shields. Shields believed Barr was a good fit, and he was ready to hire him, but Cosman was troubled by Barr's unfamiliarity with several of the key components of Yieldex solutions. He wondered how Barr could manage a software platform that he didn't fully understand. Cosman was also concerned that Barr seemed to be questioning the skills and output of some of the employees that he had hired. As Shields pulled up to the Yieldex office, he thought about the implications of hiring Barr against Cosman's wishes. He was comfortable by Washing's support of Barr. He also knew that Cosman respected Washing's perspective. Nevertheless, he wondered how Cosman and Barr would interact as the 2 leaders of the Boulder office, and also how it would work when the 5 engineers that Cosman had hired began to report to Barr. Shields knew that this group would have to work closely together in Boulder while he started the sales and marketing efforts of the company out of the Bay Area. Cosman had architected the Yieldex software, and Barr would need his support to manage the team effectively. Shields respected Cosman's desire to keep looking to other candidates, but he needed to fill this position so he could refocus his own efforts, and he was impressed by Barr's credentials. So, question is, should they hire Barr, yes or no?
I don't like it. It sounds like there's already conflict. Yeah, I think there's already conflict. I think there's already issues. You know, Shields isn't going to even be around. I think that's the one weak thing to this whole deal is why in a small startup do you have 2 offices? You know, your CEO's flying out in the Bay Area.
Well, they had mentioned earlier on how the investors in Silicon Valley were only interested in California people, So I think the fact that they left Shields in California is what appealed to them. So I think that's a part of the reason, other than just his experience.
No, I agree. I just think it creates a lot of problems. You know, if they feel it's that strong, they should look at moving those 5 engineers out to California.
Yep. When you were reading that, I was thinking of different startup companies, and you have to, when you're a startup, you have to all be in the same place. If you're doing this long distance thing, and even if it's kind of like what we're doing, using it's still hard. So I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I see. He's going to lead Barr there, but I see. What's his name owns all this. Doug owns the shares. Doug still views himself as the boss. He says he doesn't want to be boss, but sounds like he's sure acting like it. I think there's going to be conflict with him and Barr. Barr sounds qualified. I don't necessarily think he needs to have the experience in the advertising stuff like Doug is demanding. If the guy knows how to put it all together, plug in A, B, and C, then I think he'll figure it out. And he has these people on his team already. Doug just wanted to hire somebody from within and promote them off the team, but this way you still have that guy and you're bringing in some outside expertise. So I like bringing Doug on. I just think it's a mistake. I think it's going to come and backfire because Doug's going to be the lone man out there fighting against. Not Doug. Barr is going to be the lone guy out there fighting against Doug and his little 5 minions.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Michael? Or Michael, sorry, Ben.
I'm just trying to reread it one more time.
And what was it saying in the beginning about him wanting to hire someone who didn't have any marketing experience before? What was that about?
Say that one more time.
Yeah.
In the beginning, wasn't it talking about how he wasn't wanting to hire someone who had internet marketing skills?
Who, Cosmin?
Yeah.
Here's what Cosmin says right here. It says, Cosmin preferred someone with deep technical expertise in internet advertising software. So he does want someone that way.
Okay.
He would immediately understand how this technology related to systems already in use in the industry. In fact, he hoped to promote one of the Yieldex employees who had been working with Cosmin on the Yieldex solution over the last year, and had previously been a team lead. Shields, however, preferred deep management expertise of software development projects in small companies. He was comfortable hiring someone who had not worked in internet advertising as long as the individual had a track record of managing high productivity startup teams to achieve aggressive development milestones.
Okay.
It sounds like
Yeah.
Shields might have experience with other individuals who have shown success having certain different backgrounds, but it also doesn't show that he lacks confidence in hiring someone or promoting someone. So for that being said, I don't really see any real opposition from Shields. He just has a preferred method otherwise, whereas Cosmin definitely shows opposition to it because he also wants someone who's already a team member. So for those reasons, I think the easier solution would be to promote within and not hire Barr.
So you are for it then?
No, I'm for promoting somebody within Yieldex currently and not hiring Barr.
Okay. So we're all on the same page to not hire Barr.
Yeah, I'll say that. There's advantages to Barr, but I see conflicts arising.
So 3 key points they want us to talk about is company culture, which all of us recognize that. The leadership team, we've all talked about that as well. But the last one is investor relationships. Do we have any thoughts about the impact of that?
I do. I think it might appear to the investors that you're stabbing the CEO that they all like and helped you got funding because of that CEO. It might look like you're stabbing him in the back. I definitely think Barr and him I think they need to communicate more. Then again, it is still Tom Shields' final decision on this whole matter, anyways. I think communication would definitely be in order. That's for sure.
In the preparation assignment on the third question, it says, no, it was the fourth question. It was asking who should he ask for assistance in making these decisions. I think that it is the angel investors. I think they have a big say in the decisions of the company too, since it's their money. So, I think you got to get their blessing first and see what their thoughts are.
Okay. All right. Now I'm going to throw you guys for a twist. We have another case to read. This is case C. I'll go ahead and read it as well. Let me go ahead and do the. Six months later, email from John Barr, VP of Engineering, to Tom Shields, CEO. Tom, Doug continues to be disruptive. His salary is $170,000. He holds the title of CTO, which I should have. This team wasn't functional and has been replaced. Or his team wasn't functional and has been replaced at the board meeting today. Do the right things for the company. So the question then is, what does do the right thing for the company mean? Should Tom fire Doug? Does Yieldex need Cosmin anymore? What value does Doug bring to the company now that they have his algorithm? How could Doug have avoided getting into this situation? Do you want to change your minds about the buyout now?
Oh, I think kind of that's exactly what we're talking about. That's how Doug could have avoided the situation by not giving up 50% of the company.
He didn't.
He did it, and he didn't. He took 60. It was a 60-40 split. He sold 20 of it.
He sold 20. That's what brought him back down to the 40. But he originally had 60-40.
Okay.
So he kind of buried himself.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily think anything in the situation has anything to do with voting shares or anything else like that. I think this is, I think this is just that whole communication problem, that we saw coming on. I think the CEO should have taken more into account how Doug was. He may have wanted to hire that guy, but he should have known that Doug wasn't going to be keen on it. Especially if the guy's already fired the 5 engineers, the people that Doug had brought on originally.
Yeah.
Cosmin. I mean, to me, that says a lot right there. What the heck? You're dumping your whole team?
Yep.
Yep. Well, and that's why all of us agreed Barr was not a good decision.
Yeah.
And yet here Tom went and hired him. So 6 months later, he's on the team and he's fired Cosmin's crew, and now he's proposing to get rid of Cosmin altogether. So
the other thing I didn't like about Barr is how many companies did it say he had worked for? Because he'd been in quite a few, hadn't he?
Let me see real quick. It says right here at the end. Barr had a strong track record with multiple successful startups. He had been the CTO of his last 2 companies, but he was willing to join as the VPE. So just a strong track record. He had been CTO twice. And then those are just the highlights it brings up.
And this is taking place in 2000. What year did this was 2006? So the internet. I think it's 2006. It's
got to be no, because they hire on Shields at the end of December, and he comes to December of 2007 proposing to hire Barr, and then this email comes from Barr 6 months later. So this is June of 2008 now.
Yeah. So the internet's 10 years old, and this guy's already worked for at least 3 companies. Sounds to me he likes just jumping ship.
Well, it talks about his successes though with startups. So I
Well,
mean,
yeah, but is he
he is
good at just?
productive.
Well, is he good at just worming his way in there? Is he a good salesman? Gets his on winning ideas anyways and rides the wave.
Oh, I definitely think he's a good salesman. That's why they're hiring him.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's his
thinking.
appeal to Shields anyway.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, you know, he'll be successful in this company. The idea is strong. It's going to succeed no matter what. You know, from what it sounds like. So I don't know. To me, it just his
It's just
profile
dirty.
seems.
I don't like it.
I don't like it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But well, anyways, back to the case. Shouldn't have hired him. I think it was a mistake. He should put his foot down. That was for sure.
So I don't know. I'm like curious. I'm trying to think of how to answer these questions then, because to do the right thing for the company is, you know, I feel like, well, what does, okay, well, to answer the question, what does do the right thing for the company mean? It means thinking of the growth of the company and nothing else but the company, regardless of who works for the company. You're looking at the company only. And so that's what he's referring to. Do what's best for the company and ditch Doug. That's what he's implying. And then the question is, should Tom fire Doug? Does Yieldex need Cosman anymore? What value does Doug bring to the company now that they have his algorithm? Which, you know, that's the ugliness of it. I don't, unfortunately, I don't know if Doug offers any more support because of that position he's now in.
So you thinking like maybe buy him out, buy Doug out?
No, I don't want to see that, but I can see where they're coming from. Well, and truth be told, I don't think it's a matter of buying him out. I think they're just trying to outright fire him, get him gone.
He would still have his shares. It'd be like Steve Jobs. He still had his
Right.
shares. He didn't show up to work anymore. And he'd probably still be on the board at that point. I just find it very I don't know. I don't like the questions why they ask, you know, so we're supposed to assume this from Tom Shields' perspective, but I have a big problem with the guy that shows up. You know, the company's been being built, doing well. They got investors. Everything went fine. Everybody liked the program, and this guy shows up, and in 6 months he fired pretty much he wants all the old guys out.
Yeah.
You know, if he's such a star, you know, work with these guys and where they're lacking, if that's really the case. But it doesn't ask that. So I guess that's a moot point. So let's do the right thing for the company. Well, obviously for him, doing the right thing means getting anybody out of his way. He wants to be CTF. So That's one problem. He's not happy being chief engineer. He wants to be the boss again. Should Tom fire Doug? My opinion is no. I think he needs to fire this other guy. Does Yieldex need Cosman anymore? I don't know. How much has he, you know, obviously he understands this problem, and Cosman felt the old team understood the problem. Does the new team that this other guy brought on, does he understand the problem? Does he even understand it? Does he even know what the heck they're doing, what they're looking for? I mean, he didn't even have experience in this market. So I wouldn't. I mean, I think he still needs Cosman.
That's a good point.
You know, and if they liked each other, why doesn't Tom talk to Cosman directly and say, hey, you know, this is what we got going on. What's your assessment of this guy? This is what I'm seeing, but obviously I'm not there. But then, and I haven't, you know, you're actually this guy's boss, and I haven't seen you asking for him to be fired. So what's going on?
Yeah, especially as co-founders.
Yeah, as co-founders, but you know, thinking about it, I mean, that just came up. Doug is this guy's boss. Doug is, what's this guy's name?
Well, Barr, but it also states though that Barr reports to Shields.
Oh, it does say
doesn't
that. No, but why would he report to Shields
because Shields
if
is the one
what's
who
his name?
hired him. It's dirty.
Yeah, but what's his name is the vice president or the chief technical engineer. Oh, that's right. He didn't want to be that's right. He just wanted to be chief engineer. That's right. So yeah. So he put himself, Cosman put himself in this position.
He did.
Yep. Yep.
So it is interesting because now now this really does make me wonder back to the last question there. Do you change your mind about the buyout? Which, I mean, yeah, I mean, like if you kind of see the projection of this company, the buyout does certainly seem more appealing now.
Well, no, let's look at it from another point. If he did the buyout, he'd walk away after taxes with around $1 million, $1.2 million, something like that. This way, he's just out of the company. Worst case scenario, he's just fired out of the company. He still holds, you know, if you continue on with the projections for the C offering and the B offering and the C offering, his shares get up to being like worth $6 million.
See now,
You know,
did you calculate
while the
that yet?
government's still going, he's still making money. What's that?
Casey, I haven't calculated that out yet. I didn't know how to quite do that.
Well, I'm not sure I quite did, but my numbers ended up that by the time you do $1.50 a share, and shares have been diluted down to where both Doug and Tom Shields only have 13.89% of the company, they still own 6.2 million in stock.
Okay.
So
Well,
by him just getting out of the way and letting what's his name run this company, I mean, he could sell his shares and he'd already made 3 times his money. He wanted out. What I'm saying is he wanted out anyways last year. If he gets fired, big whoop. He's got $6 million more. You know, he might still be happy.
Yeah. Hey, Michael, can you show your calculations if you got it?
Yeah, I can. Let me pull back and look at right here. Okay. Okay, you able to see it?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So scrolling back here. Now, let me point this one thing out. Did you guys understand where the heck this here, let me scroll this over. I got this sliding right here. It says on that, heck, sorry, I'm having trouble moving around now that we're sharing the screen. Okay, so it said that in the Exhibit 5 that breaks it all down, it says that Tom Washing has 156, like he had a third in with Angel B and Angel C. Where did that come in? That wasn't mentioned in the case study anywhere. Is that a mistake within the exhibit?
No, he did. He was one of the original investors. He had said that he cannot, that his venture and capital company, that there's no value to the company yet, so that his company won't do it, but he believes in the company, so he wanted to invest some of his personal money. That's what allowed him to be an angel investor.
But it's not calling him an angel. You see, we got angel A, B, and C here, those 3, and it says that in December 2006, Cosman closed on a $300,000 round of angel investors with 3 investors. But here it's showing that Tom has the same amount as 2 of those angels, and his third angel is knocked down to $65,800. This is on Exhibit 4.
Right. No, and I've got the same thing on mine.
So I'm just trying to figure out what happened there. So anyways, I just wanted to point that out. So my numbers are, I just went ahead and plugged in the numbers how Exhibit 4 shows, but it doesn't make sense to me because I don't see anywhere where it's ever mentioned that the quantity Tom gave, you know, and I see 3 angel investors there, but one of the angel investors has a different amount. So I'm kind of attributing to a mistake, but anyways. So back onto this. So at 50 cents per share, bringing it all down, that's where these guys are at. splitting the shares. So he's at 2 million on the cash value just on doing this, the Series A, which isn't too bad. And now we find out in what he ended up doing though was he gave it a 40-60 split over here. So Tom didn't get this 4,166,000 shares. Tom got less and he got more, and then he cashed it back out. So
Right. But then he immediately sells 20%.
Yeah. So 20%. So, and this is at 34%. So it's selling at 20%. Oh, wait. Where up at the, no, this is the right one. Yeah. So he probably took out about $1 million, if that's the case. Or no, he sold 20% of, he sold 20% of his shares.
I'm not
No,
sure.
it was 20%. Yeah. He got a few $100,000. We'll say that. Anyways, so scrolling down across, there's our Series B conversion at $1 per share, bringing on another 5.7 million.
Hey, so real quick,
yeah,
Cosman sold 20% of his common back to the company, so it would put him down to 45% total.
40 or 45?
45, because it just says Cosman sold.
It was a 60-40, wasn't it?
Yeah, 60-40, and then he sold 20% of his common back. So 20% of his 60%, which is only 12%.
Oh, so it wasn't 20% of the company shares, it's 20% of his common. Okay.
Yes. That's how I'm translating it. So then it would give him, what, 48% of the company?
Yeah. For a few days until, well, no, because this was after Series A. He would have sold that after Series A. He would have sold it. So he'd already been down lower. It would have already been diluted.
Yeah.
Because he did the 40-60, then they did the Series A, and then he sold those shares after the Series A and the value was established. So it would have been 45. He'd be down here in the 30 somewhere in total.
Yeah.
You still there, Tyler?
Yep, still here. Just
all right. So anyways, so 50 cents per share conversion A, then you get $1, just doing the numbers that they threw out. That gets him to 22 million. It's giving him a stock value of 4 million. And like I said on the last offering, it's giving the company a value of 45 million, and he's got 6.2 sitting there. So if he got fired right now, he'd already be 3 times better off than where he was when he was thinking about walking away from the whole thing anyways. So maybe he'd be happy with it. Who knows?
So can you just repeat specifically what the question was?
Well, essentially, we're trying to evaluate if I'll read it. Do you want to change your mind about the buyout now?
No, I think the buyout was a good idea.
I think this is referring to the buyout from Turn.
Yeah. I think not. I'm opposite. I think that proceeding with Series A, yeah. I think that proceeding with Series A was the correct choice because it increased his value anyways.
Okay.
Okay. I'd agree with that.
The interesting thing, though, is you talk about the $1 million he walked out with, but he also had stock in the other company then, too.
Yeah, was that stock growing as fast as your stock?
Well, how fast would it grow with this algorithm that they had to provide?
What was his? How they were giving him 2 million in stock?
Yeah, 2 million cash, 2 million stock.
Well, and that got diluted down too.
Of course.
Yeah. Huh.
So it's certainly an interesting scenario. It should never have ended up here.
No. 2 million Oasis. So he got 1.5 million stock options. It just is that stock in that larger company growing, or is it diluted too much? Would be the question. But I don't think he made a mistake by turning that down. I think he made more money. What do you think?
So we're agreeing that option A was the right thing to do.
I think so.
That's yeah. I don't know. I would agree with that.
It's just interesting because it's like, so he has more value of stock, but is he able to get any of it out? How is he paying his family now?
Well, he's got that $170,000 a year salary.
Not if he's fired.
No, but he could sell the stock. The stock holds value to the other investors.
But that's just it. What's his plan?
Well, yeah, he's going to have to sell, but
that's what I'm saying. He's losing it.
Fired. Yeah, that's if he's fired. He's going to have to. He could find some party not even associated currently with it and sell the stock because the value's there. He doesn't have to sell it back to those people. He could sell it someone else.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, let's be fair. I'd be pretty ticked off right now. I'd be going elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, and I'm just curious how the other angel investors are. He is a board member, and some of them are board members. The board can fire the CEO if he's not going in the direction they want. So it just depends on how good good Doug was keeping the board with him. They all like
Shields.
They did. They still, though. Do they think he's going in the right direction by bringing that guy? I don't know. I don't have enough information, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I said, it went in an ugly direction.
It did. It says, how could Doug have avoided getting into the situation? By giving up control. He shouldn't have given up. He shouldn't have let that guy have been his boss.
Yep, because that was his decision.
Yep.
It's interesting. I don't know if you guys ever look at that case B when they were debating about hiring Barr. What's interesting, so it shows the breakdown of the common shares, and it shows after him selling the 20% of his cut, it shows him still having 50% of the company, and then Tom has 34%. Then there's 16% to the employee option, and then 1% to other. So he does still have 50%, and then they bring in all the investors and whatnot. He still has the majority of anybody else at 29%.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize he got in Doug's down solo. Interesting. Oh, see. No, yeah, they got Angel A there at the 65,800. Partners that. So that is correct. That's how they ran the whole simulation. Common warrants. They didn't discuss anything about that. Do you know what that is?
I don't understand any of that. And that I don't recall reading that in the funding for ventures either. So
yeah, common warrants, common warrant shares. That is interesting. Totally fully diluted shares. What the heck is that going on? Huh. Interesting. Well, then it sounds to me he holds the majority. He needs to go and wine and dine some board members.
it's just interesting because I don't think Cosman even has the experience to understand that, which that's what hurts him to being, is he still worth it to having on the company?
Yeah.
And we talk about that from one of our previous cases. There was the other software one that we had, and they were talking about how a lot of the venture capitalists, they come in, fund a company, and then they later take over and have someone else run the business because they want someone who's more business minded to run the business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you kind of see that happening here. The investors say, hey, we like Tom Shields, put him in, let him take charge.
Yeah, and Doug Cosman went along with it because he just said, well, I don't want to run the day-to-day. I just want to be a computer guy.
Yep.
Interesting.
All right. So have we come to an agreement on what to do here?
Well, I think the initial situation, I think, well, I don't change my mind in the sense of what was given to us at the time. I would definitely have done Series A. I think let the value of the company grow, and then I'd consider selling. What's interesting now is if that's the direction they're going to try to go, then I'd be interested in selling the company now. If that's seriously what they're going to do to me. The company has shown it's worth a lot more money now. 4.9 was the pre-money valuation. Then you get all the investments. You could sell similar to the prices that Shields originally presented them with. So that's something I would consider and saying, hey, you know what? That's what you're going to pull. Then, I'll dump ship all together. We'll sell the company. And essentially he would do that by either jumping on board with that or selling his shares to somebody they don't like. At that point, he could even consider selling his shares to the guy who made the proposal from Turn.
Yeah.
Because essentially that's a competitor to Turn.
Yeah, 30%. So the diluted shares are worth one of the diluted shares, it doesn't say what they're worth.
Well, after the Series A investments, it's worth 30%. He has 29% at their current position.
Yeah. They were at 50 cents a share. That's what Series A was 50 cents a share, right?
Yeah, let me see what fits.
So 17 million shares, 50 cents on the dollar. That's going to give you about 8.5 million. And then he gets 30% of that.
Yeah. And it shows that it did sell for 49.3 cents, according to the second case we read.
Okay. So he'd get a little over 2 million if he sold out his shares. 2.5.
So then he just doesn't have the equity or the stock like he would have had originally.
Yeah, at that point, but like I said, we already made that decision. So at this point here, I'd still say I say he made the right decision by continuing on and building the company. It was some other decisions got him in this boat.
All right. What do you think, Tyler?
I agree with you guys. Sounds good. Sounds good to me. What time is it over there for you guys?
10:12.
10:12. Gotcha. How many questions do we have left?
That's it.
That's it. We're out.
That's it.
Yep, that was our vote.
Well, I vote with you guys. I agree.
Okay. We'll go ahead and stop the broadcast then. I think that's it.
All right.